Labor is still copping plenty of heat over its efforts to try and change our industrial relations system. Its legislations would see a return to industry-wide bargaining, paving the way for broad strikes right across the economy. And despite the economy facing dire straits at the moment, the Workplace Relations Minister, Tania, says this is all about lifting wages.
People who are watching wages run at 2.6 while inflation's running at 7.3 and projected to reach 8% want action now. They want the parliament to act now.
Let's get some reaction from industry. Tania Constable is the CEO of the Minerals Council of Australia. Thanks for joining us, Tania. This is a bit disturbing, isn't it, when Labor's only justification for these changes seems to be the suggestion that they're going to use it to ramp up wage increases in this country. Is that what's needed to increase wages in this country?
Absolutely not, Chris. The wages, as you know, in the mining industry are very high. We have the highest paying wages in Australia at $144,000, and there are other industries across Australia that have very high wages. This bill is totally unjustified. It expands the scope of multi-employer bargaining across the economy. It undermines the current system that is working well in a lot of areas in the economy, and it doesn't explain well how the multi-enterprise bargaining is going to work in other streams such as the single interest stream and the supported bargaining stream. On top of that, it gives absolute power to the unions at the expense of the employers and employee relationship. This bill is a bad policy and we need time to consider it.
Well, look, the issue here is that Labor haven't really made out a case at all as to why this is needed. As I say, the only thing you get from them is what we heard from Tony Burke there, is if somehow empowering the unions is going to push up wages. Is this really about Labor, after almost a decade out of power, coming back into office and having essentially just looking to give the unions more power? It's as simple as that. It's the quid pro quo. We're in government. We will give unions more power.
Well, I've got the bill here. This is 258 pages that ultimately gives powers much more power than they had, the unions much more power than they had in the past. And it doesn't matter where you go in this bill, that's what you're seeing all the way through it. If we are to really get this right, all of business, small businesses and large businesses across Australia need time to consider this bill in its entirety. Parliamentarians need time to consider this bill, more than the 22 days that have been given. This takes months and months and even years to get right. If we're going to get this right, we need to go back to the drawing board. As was explained at the Jobs and Skills Summit, that we thought this was going to occur next year for consideration. So bringing it on now, giving us very little time to consider the bill, consider the implications across industry, and let me tell you, it is profound across every company, so everybody really needs to take notice of this bill. And we know that what this bill does is de-link performance and wages, and that's what our industry is all about.
It just is extraordinary.
An increase in wages, and in that way we get very sustainable wages in the long term.
Yeah, productivity, you can't beat it. Thanks for joining us, Tania. I appreciate it. Tania Constable there from the Minerals Council of Australia. You saw the size of the bill there. The issue here that nobody has made a case from the government as to what they're trying to fix. Where is the problem they're trying to fix with these laws? Clearly, it's about just giving the unions more power. Otherwise, they would explain to us where the problem is and why laws are needed to fix them.